Hey, Moguls, Real Estate Mogul Mastermind. How in the world are you? Happy 2019. Glad to have you here. And thanks for watching, joining live. Many of you will probably watch this later and not catch it live because you're out making stuff happen right now. But when the old year ends and the new year comes in, there's this whole resurgence of goals and uh, writing out your goals and making resolutions and just really resetting yourself for the new year for 2019. And this is, I've been through a lot of New Year's, and this is always a recurring theme. Like it's the reset into a new year. So several years ago, I guess maybe I guess maybe 10, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, somewhere around that. Seems like maybe not that long, but maybe longer. I I started rethinking this whole goal thing because I used to, like many of you, probably. Hey, Letitia, like many of you, you you know I used to write out my goals, like all of my health goals, all of my business goals, all of my um, fitness goals, all of my educational goals, all of those things. I write them out, and as the year went along, I would just check them off. Okay, did this, did this, did this. But my personal experience is and was that when I was doing that, I always felt like I was under pressure to perform, and I was under pressure to accomplish and to check those things off the list. And while a lot of them got done, I mean, because I held myself accountable, like you probably are. Hey, Keith, how are you? You guys say hello out there in the in the comment box. While I held myself accountable and got things done, there always felt like there was something missing, because anytime a goal would get checked off, well, guess what? There's another goal that has to replace it, take its place, move up the food chain in goals. And then I guess about 10 years ago or so, I started rethinking this whole idea of goals. Now, the term goal is a great term because it's that thing that you're going to point to. It's that thing that you're going to aspire to in your business, in your health, in your relationships, whatever it is. So I don't want, I'm not talking necessarily about replacing the word itself, goal, but I'm talking about enriching it. I'm talking about giving it a greater purpose, a greater meaning, so that the process along the way to check that thing off the box is more fluid, it's easier, it's more natural, it feels more sustainable, it has a bigger purpose, a bigger meaning to it. And so the word goal is good, but what's behind it? Like, what's the undercurrent, the foundation of all of your goals? And this is important for you, and especially in the real estate business. I'm getting all kinds of dings on my phone here. Let's just see if I can get rid of these here. The real purpose is uh, is to live life. I believe live life in with ease. All right, and I don't mean lazy. I just mean that it feels effortless. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you're doing something that you love, you thoroughly enjoy, you're decent at it, and even if you aren't decent at it, it just feels natural. It feels like you're in the flow. And this comes from a feeling of purpose, or the foundation of knowing what you really, really want. So the goals often are just a demonstration of what you really, really want. And what you really, really want is what I say, what I define is a way of being. So we want to be a certain way. Because if you have certain things and you think that having those certain things will make you happy, the the behind the curtain of that is the state of being happy is a way of being. So oftentimes people list the goals because it says when they say to themselves subconsciously, when I achieve this goal, I will then have achieved a state of happiness or well-being. So I say, let's just go right to the state of well-being. Like, how do you really, really want to be? And in the real estate world, since we're in the real estate mogul mastermind here, oftentimes we'll say, pardon me, well, I want to own a certain number of properties because once I own those properties, it will generate a certain amount of revenue. And once that revenue is generated, then I will be happy. I will feel safe. I will feel secure because I know that that property will increase in value. And years from now, if I have to, I can sell it, take out the equity, and I have a place of security. So, or real estate, sometimes people get into real estate because of the immediate cash flow. And so they say, okay, if I buy this house and I flip it, if I buy this property and I flip it, or turn it right away or wholesale it, since we are teaching a wholesale class right now in the group, and that translates into quicker cash than most other kinds of real estate. Then they say, okay, well, once I have that cash, then I'll feel really good. So the bottom line here is that we set up the goals, we set up the dreams because we want to achieve a state of being, a state of feeling, a feeling of happiness or content or security or safety. Sometimes we'll even set up goals to achieve a state of variety or a state of uncertainty or a state of adventure. And by the way, if you have like a life statement and you have your core values in line, oftentimes you'll work to your core values just to achieve those core values without even knowing it. So what reminded me of that is the state of adventure. Adventure is one of my core values, and it is in my life contract, it's in my life statement. And so I notice that I tend to lean toward things that create adventure, that create variety, that create an experience that maybe is a little bit different or unique. Now, sometimes that is just my perspective, the way I look at something, and it creates a uniqueness to it. But a lot of times I'll go out and do something adventurous just because, well, that's what I like to do. So in the world of real estate and in this mastermind group, I've uploaded to the files section a document called Personal Vision Legacy Builder Template. So that's for you. It's free. It's something I personally developed about 2 years ago to put all of these thoughts in a place, in a format that would be easier for one. I did it for me first, and would be easier for one to arrange your thoughts, arrange your priorities, arrange your the experiences that you want to have in your life. And what I also discovered while filling this out on my own for myself was that I discovered things that I had thought about many, many years ago, but never really captured them or never really put them in a place that I could refer to when I wanted. So, pardon me, still got a little bit of that cold, a little bit of that flu that's hanging on, but doing much better. So this is if you were to print out the template that I put in the files section of the group, it's going to look like this. But you don't necessarily need to print it out. In fact, what I did, and let me go way back here because I did this way back in my journal. Let me find it real quickly. Okay, here we go. Okay, so yeah, okay. So what I did was rather than print out this, I used it as a guideline, and then I filled it out in my journal. And so I just went through, all the different areas that I'll talk to you about in a minute, and I just started writing things that fed into this. This is just a guideline. Essentially, what this does is it sets up like a hierarchy of how you want to live your life. And it starts with your basic core life commitment statement. So this is your way of being. You'll see this on the chart, on the graph right here with an explanation. And that is your core life commitment statement. Make a statement of your way of being, who you are as a person, and what your highest personal values are. Answer it this way. Who will I always go back to as my foundation when things are good or when they are challenging? So this is my I am statement. Like, I am a person. My life commitment is, and so for me, I'll share that with you. I am a passionate, creative, generous, and adventurous leader. Those words, those descriptions, they mean things to me. They are empowering to me. So yours could be creative, yours could be loving, yours could be giving, philanthropic, yours could be education, yours could be healthy, wellness, fitness, a lover. Whatever works for you is what you want to put in your highest, your core commitment as your life commitment. Now, I took it one step further, and I don't know if you can see this, but up in the corner of my office, right up there, right there, it is a framed life statement. Now, since I did that, I added one more adjective to it, and I know what it is. So someday I'll revise that. That one says I'm a passionate, creative, giving man. So I added the word adventurous to it, and also the description of leader. So those things mean something to me. So you take the template, and you just take a moment and you think about that. Now, kind of in a funny sort of way, I put in the description of the notes of the file. Go get a glass of wine, take about 30 minutes, and really let this sit. This is not an activity or an exercise that you want to overthink. If you're in your head on this exercise, you will be in your head for the next week and a half. You don't have to get it right. The word adventurous, as I just described to you, I added a couple of years later. Actually, I think I added it about a year and a half ago to my description of my life, because I just kept, this theme kept coming up. So there's no need to overthink it. There's no need to get it right. The words don't have to be right. This is an evolving thing, but when you can just capture just a few words, just 3 or 4 words about who you want to be, capital B, capital E, as a person, you'll find that it just guides everything that you do. Remember, the original description here is that it's who you are, it's who you go back to all the time. Who will I always go back to as my foundation when things are good or when things are challenging? So no matter how things are going, you're going to go back to being this person. Pardon me again. A one-time pardon. All right, then you're going to begin to fill in the blanks. And you'll notice here the description is right here in the blue, to determine all of the core or the major core areas, the core areas of your life that you hold your highest values in. You decide. In each of the core life areas, make a statement in the affirmative describing who you will be in the world. So the core areas that I have described or defined are family, health, and not in any particular order. You can put them in order if you want, but the way life is, you don't just go, today I'm working on my family, everything else, to the exclusion of everything else. Today I'm going to work on my health and fitness to the exclusion of everything else. It doesn't work that way. Like, especially in health and fitness, that's a day by day thing, all day long, every day. If you're putting crap in your mouth, then you know, if you're on Skittles and bonbons all the time, that is not a a one time that that's not a one time decision about your health. Your health is an ongoing decision every day. So the core areas I have in mind: family, health and fitness, spirituality, my long-term wealth, and the long-term wealth I broke down into short-term, mid-term, and long-term, by the way. Philanthropy, personal growth and education, my lover slash partner slash relationships. And by that I mean my lover and my partner, as well as my friends and people I meet in general. And then the eighth area of my life, I put adventure and entertainment. And so in each of these areas, what you want is a 1 year goal. There's the word goal, but goal in terms of, okay, if I can see myself doing anything in any of these areas, I'd like to do X, such and such. So let's see, let me pick one here. Well, let me describe this first. In each of the core areas of life, create a 1 year, a 5 year, a 10 year, and a 30-year vision or goal of what you see yourself happening in these areas. Get outrageous. Don't overthink it. This is not a mandate. This is just a roadmap of your personal vision. This is a dream. And here's what's interesting. And I learned this a long time ago. I learned this from a gentleman named Mark Victor Hansen. He is one of the co-authors of the Chicken Soup for the Soul. There's Mark, and then there's Jack Canfield. And when they had the book, when they had the explosion of all those books, I attended one of their talks, and this was probably in the mid '90s, late '90s. I don't even remember. It seems like forever ago. But Mark said, he said, if you just write things down, there's power in writing things down. Like all of a sudden, crazy stuff happens. You'll write something down that you want to see, experience, envision, and a year later, you forgot you wrote it down, but it happens. 5 years later, you forgot you wrote it down, but it happens. Now, maybe you've seen a lot of this kind of thing in the law of attraction, in The Secret, in doing vision boards, and those kinds of strategies or techniques. All they're doing is they're just taking what's in the subconscious and resurrecting it to a place where you actually put it on paper. And even if you didn't put it on paper, I mean, how many times have you said to yourself, or have you had an experience where you said, I just knew years ago that I was going to do that, and it happened. Here's an example. So last February, I found myself, maybe it was late January. For the sake of discussion here, let's call it February 1st, kind of right in the middle there. So I found myself in a place because with my businesses that I had some time on my hands in the month of March. I created some time that I had in the month of March. And my businesses were in such a place where they didn't really need 100% of my focus for a little while, for a variety of reasons. Good reasons, by the way, planned, purposeful reasons. I was just looking through an old journal, and I think this journal was from about 2006 or 2007, so close to 10 years old. And in that journal, it said, I will attend a yoga ashram for 30 days. Now, I wouldn't say I had forgotten about that, but I would say I had minimized that vision or minimized that idea. And I thought, wow, I got a little bit of time on my hands here. And let me just bop around. So I bopped around the internet, and within maybe 20, 30 minutes, I found a really cool ashram in the Bahamas that taught yoga teacher training. It was a spiritual retreat. It taught philosophy, meditation, vegetarian lifestyle, yoga. We ended up doing yoga 4 hours a day. We did meditation about 4 hours a day. And it was on the beach in the Bahamas for 30 days. And I thought I would have never thought about that had I just I was just perusing through one of my old journals, and it resurrected the idea. So not that I wouldn't have done that without writing it in a journal, but I thought it was serendipitous that it was in the journal and it was in my mind like simultaneously. So when you write things out, Mark Victor Hansen taught me that when you write things out, and they tend to surface. And so take time and write things out. And I suggest that you capture it. You capture it in a journal. And I have bunches of leather bound journals where I've just captured my thoughts through much of my adult life. All right, so then you have these areas. In this particular document, I chose 8 areas. So then you create a 1-year, 5-year, 10-year, 30-year statement or goal or a vision. It's not a mandate. This is a roadmap to your personal vision. Oh, here's another example of something that I put in my journal. I traveled the perimeter of the United States for 6 months on my Harley Davidson on or before January 2021. So wow, I've got 2 years. I better get with it. That's my phone. All right, let's see. I need to put it off. Let's see. Okay, let me turn it off. All right. So my commitment to the adventure is reflected in this statement. You decide which area supports your core commitment and core life commitment. So that's just me riding a Harley Davidson around the perimeter of the country. In fact, I already have a map of how I'm going to go, and it covers the 50 most popular landmarks in the United States. So, I mean, that was something I thought about a long time ago. I wrote it down. Okay, now it's percolating. It's percolating, right? So this document is in the file section of the Facebook group. And now, how does this apply to you? And how does this apply to real estate? And how does this apply to Real Estate Mogul Mastermind? What I want for you is for you to create a vision of your real estate investing career. I would really like for you to create a vision for all the other areas of your life. Your health and fitness, your relationships, your wellness, your education, your spirituality, your family, your philanthropy, your creativity. One of the things that I did not specifically put on my list was my need to, or my desire for creativity. I do a lot of things for creativity. I paint, I write, those kinds of things. So figure out the areas that are important to you. But because we're in the mastermind here, take a moment and think about what you want for real estate. Because let me tell you about 2019. 2019 for real estate has a really big question mark on it. Hey, Wilbert, how are you? 2019 has a really big question mark on it. Some are saying that we're gonna, the market's gonna flop. There's gonna be a correction. There's gonna be an adjustment. Some are saying, oh no, we're gonna sail right through it. Nobody really knows, but I can sense that something is brewing. So I'm always taking a look at little indicators, and sometimes, or recently, I've seen a couple of little, I wouldn't call them red flags, but I would call them maybe yellow flags. Okay. And so, hey, Betty, how are you? So 2019 for real estate is going to be really crazy. Now, in 2008, you're all familiar with what happened to real estate, and that created an adjustment in the way that we did real estate. But let me tell you, 2008, 2009, 2010, there was so much opportunity in real estate that if you knew your objective, if you knew your purpose, if you knew what you really, really wanted, then whatever kind of real estate you were doing that wasn't working in 2008, 2009, 2010, you flipped around, you turned it, you went out and did something else. So REOs was really big at that time. There was plenty of opportunity in REOs in various pockets around the country. It was a great time to buy. and to leverage purchasing assets, and then many of us turn and flip those later. So all that comes from not getting locked up in, I got a goal, I'm going to buy X amount of houses because the market is so is in such a, it's a certain way, and I'm just using it as an example. But when your purpose is, and your vision and your legacy is clear in your head, then you will zig when you were supposed to zag, and zag when you were supposed to zig. So as you go through this, if you have any questions, put the comments in, message, or put comments in the thread about your questions, and I'd love to hear what your vision is, your objectives, your commitments, your way of being is for the world of real estate. That is the 2019. That's what we're going to do going forward in 2019. Just know this, that through the coming months, we're going to do a lot of education, a lot of teaching. I'm lining up a lot of different presenters and experts, and you've already experienced some of them on the Facebook group here. And you got to be fluid. You got to be ready to dance on your feet. But that doesn't mean that you can be wishy-washy and uncertain. And the way you're not wishy-washy and the way you're not uncertain is by having the foundation of who you are, what your core values are, and what you want to see in your life in the area of real estate, and how it fits into the other areas of your life, your family, your wellness, your philanthropy, etc. So I hope you enjoy the template. Use the template, and I'd love to have your feedback. If you have any questions, please drop the questions in either the thread or private message, and I'm happy to answer those at any time. So back to one other thing we are having right now. We are in the middle of the wholesale education. If you want to learn how to wholesale, if you want to learn how to generate income quickly from real estate, the quickest, fastest, easiest way to get into real estate is through wholesaling. So if you want to know how to find deals, how to negotiate with sellers, how to find buyers, what the right pricing is, how to evaluate a deal, what the right fee is to charge on an assignment fee or a wholesale deal, how to get paid on that wholesale deal, how to determine if you in fact want to wholesale it, or maybe you want to keep it, or maybe you want to repair it and flip it. That's covered also. All the templates, all the forms, all the evaluation sheets, all of the spreadsheets, all of the cost templates for remodeling, that's all included in the course. And private coaching. So it's ongoing now. If that is something that you feel like you need help with, and you want to learn how to wholesale, then just drop a note in the comments or message me, and I'll make sure that we get in contact with you and explain the whole course for you. It's very cost effective. In fact, the first deal that you do will more than cover the tuition. Usually 99% of the time. I don't want to make any real what do you call it, earnings claims, right? So there's that caveat there. But I mean, listen, the cost of the course versus the first commission, usually it's covered. So but the point is, wholesaling and forms of wholesaling should always be a piece of your portfolio, always be a piece of your real estate business, ongoing all the time, because it's easy. It's just like, it's really easy. Once you have buyers that are expecting you to bring them deals, and once you know how to find the motivated sellers, I mean, it's a marriage made in real estate heaven. So if that's of interest to you, we'd love to coach you on that, train you on that. Just drop a note, drop a comment, and I'll make sure that I get back to you and explain the course to you. Okay? So happy 2019. And let's go get it. All right.